Greetings everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Captain Ryan. Today's YouTube video is going to be a short little clip from an arcade air battle I had in War Thunder. Specifically, the bit that I want to show you is the P-47 Thunderbolt. Yes, the P-47, that beautiful ground attack beast of an aircraft. Here in War Thunder, there are actually a couple of different variants of it, and I'm flying the standard variant that is in the Tier 2 or Tier 3 category. Now, the battle right now isn't necessarily going in favor of my team, so we're going to have to work on that. The reason that I really like the P-47 Thunderbolt in War Thunder, and just in general as an aircraft, is that it's a big plane. This aircraft effectively managed to combine a wonderful combination of survivability, ordnance and weapon loadout, and versatility because of that. Now, it's not the most maneuverable aircraft, as we're gonna see. She doesn't turn that quickly. But with 850 caliber machine guns, a powerful engine, and a lot of weight behind the aircraft, you really don't want to be getting into a dogfight with this plane anyway. Mostly, instead, performing boom and zoom style tactics. Which is kind of what I came in and did. Now, I did get into a turning fight, but only with aircraft that were less maneuverable than my own. And currently, I am in a turning fight with somebody as I try to get away. One of the facets and tactics of American aircraft is, because of their weight, is to get low and dive away from your enemy. You're never going to be able to engage in a direct turning fight with something that's more agile and more powerful, but you can certainly dive away. So I'm flying defensively, trying to avoid the aircraft behind me and all of its nasty little bullets until there's something else for him to shoot at. And then I climb and I turn and I spot a target that has got me interested. Again, with those 850 caliber machine guns, pretty much just go in and wreck whatever I shoot at. Kind of like the Spitfire with its 8 303s. Yeah, the 303s don't do a lot of damage, but they do just tend to shred lightly armored and lightweight aircraft. Well, the P-47 is kind of like the Spitfire, but for the late war with its 850 cals. It's also really good for dealing with ground targets like machine guns, artillery, and anti-aircraft emplacements. This means that you can use this aircraft without a bomb load and cause some pretty significant damage. Now, this is the part where the lack of maneuverability really shows up there, as I do manage to fly myself into a mountain and crash and burn. What I learned later is that I could have pressed the S key on the keyboard to help improve the elevator control in the back and pulled just a little bit of a tighter turn. Though, given the maneuverability of the aircraft, I'm not entirely sure that would have done what I wanted it to. So I'm back again in my second P-47. This is the other standard version with the D-Day livery, or the Battle of the Bulge livery coloration on it. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to continue my reign of terror. But at the same time, I'm also going to be looking for ground targets to help reduce the number of tickets that the enemy team has. Plus, ground targets, you know, you earn some credits and XP for that. And as you can see there, the maneuvering of the aircraft is pretty comparable. It's a bit better than a heavy fighter, but not as good, again, as a standard fighter. Definitely not as maneuverable as a Bf-109, and probably about as maneuverable as the F-4U Corsair. Although I think the Corsair is a little more maneuverable because of its wing shape. It's a little less heavy. So as I continue putting rounds in here, I am looking closely at the mini-map down in the corner, trying to determine if there is an enemy aircraft that I can go shoot. Now, you'll notice, though, that the enemy team is losing tickets pretty quickly at this point. And in an air battle situation, the faster they lose tickets, and as you can see there, the teams list, they've started losing players as well. That's kind of an unrecoverable and untentative position to be in for a team in War Thunder. Losing tickets, not nearly as bad. You can always rally at the last second and just come back and pull an upset. But losing players dropping out of the game like that, yeah, that usually is an indicator that your team's not doing particularly well. Now I've spotted an enemy aircraft passing me. He's ground attack, and I let him have it. Give him all of those machine guns, and pretty much just shred apart any aircraft that flies by me. The p-47 was used pretty heavily by the U.S. Army Air Corps in World War II in Europe. Not so much in the Pacific theater. Although the U.S. Army Air Corps was in the Pacific, due to the nature of the island situation, effectively the long ranges between runways, the U.S. Army Air Corps opted instead to heavily use the P-38 Lightnings and the P-51 Mustangs when those became available. Again, that's all down to the range of both of those aircraft. Now you might be wondering why the U.S. Army didn't use P-38 Lightnings to escort bombers because of their ranges, and the answer behind that is that the P-38 is not really an air superiority fighter. It's kind of like the P-47 in that it's a heavy aircraft. It's good for boom and zoom tactics. It can carry quite a payload, but it isn't going to be an aircraft that can engage in a turning tight dogfight and hold its own against something smaller and lighter. Do manage to take out another aircraft there, and I'm kind of in a bad position here as my plane is pretty much burnt down. I've lost quite a bit of engine power, I've lost quite a bit of maneuverability, but just as a testament, I mean, look at the amount of damage that's been done to this plane, and I'm still flying. Yeah. P-47s were known for being able to sustain some pretty heavy damage and coming back home, just like the B-17 counterpart. Shred the wing off that IL-2 and have another aircraft in front of me that I'm trying to shoot down here. He's a little bit in front of me, and heading away there. And looking at the situation with my lack of maneuverability, lack of ability to climb, just in general lack of ability to do a lot of things, I'm not even sure I can make it back to my runway to repair the aircraft. And if you find yourself in this situation, even in arcade air battles, it's always worth trying to get back to the runway to repair your aircraft. But didn't think I was going to make it, so I bailed out of my plane. Switch over to my last remaining aircraft and managed to win the day with my team. Ended up number 1 on the team, surprisingly enough, with all of those wonderful awards and accolades earned. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. I know it was short, kind of rambly, but hey, it's 4th of July weekend coming up, and I've got a lot of other stuff that has to get done. Anyway, if you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me and the channel, you can do so by becoming my supporter on Patreon. If you've got a World of Warships replay that you'd like to see featured on my channel, you can send it to my email address. And if you'd like to watch me play World of Warships, War Thunder, or other games on my live stream, you can do so by following me on Twitch. If you want to know what my live streaming schedule is, you can also find that on my Facebook page. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.